Kirkland, Sally, 84 years old and dead following admission to hospice. After spending her final days in hospice care, actress Sally Kirkland, who was widely revered for her emotional bravery and distinctive artistic personality, passed away at the age of 84. With her death, a career spanning 6 decades that impacted theater, film, television, and the independent arts community comes to an end. Even if her health declined during her final months, people who knew her or appreciated her work remember her for something much more: a passionate, unadulterated spirit that defined her existence just as much as her performances. Throughout her career, Kirkland treated acting as a calling rather than a vocation. Many colleagues characterized her as the kind of performer that refuses to enter a scene halfway because of her visceral and gutsy approach to performance. She filled her characters with a sense of total emotional presence, whether she was portraying a softer, wounded character or a boisterous, erratic one. Even in projects where she only made brief appearances, her dedication made her famous. Additionally, it helped her establish a reputation that persisted long after she was overtaken by trends and changes in the industry. A surge of contemplation about what made her special has been sparked by her passing. For many, it wasn't simply the part she played, it was the person she developed into during a lifetime of creating art. Sally Kirkland embodied a type of artistic independence that is becoming more and more uncommon. A refusal to fit in, faith in her gut, and an unwavering conviction that one of the most powerful tools an artist can use is vulnerability. As the world considers Sally Kirkland's demise, it is evident that her passing signifies the end of a unique voice in American entertainment, rather than just the loss of a seasoned actress. Her journey serves as a reminder of the strength and fragility of an artist's life, from her early years of fearlessly pursuing creativity to her final hours in the peaceful care of hospice. Even when her power gradually declined due to age and disease, Kirkland carried herself with a defiant spirit, lived with emotion, and performed honestly. Without a question, her last chapter was challenging. For someone whose life revolved around expression, movement, and human connection, hearing the word hospice is never easy. However, those who were close to her claim that she continued to be surrounded by individuals who valued her uniqueness, appreciated her artistic abilities, and recognized her not just as a performer, but also as a friend, mentor, and self-reliant lady. She continued to have an impact, reminding people of the same emotional reality that influenced her career even in her last days. Kirkland's passing also prompts us to consider her legacy. She was not the kind of actress who relied on consistency or flawlessness. Rather, she thrived on depth, vulnerability, erratic decisions, and the rawness that many performers avoid. Her best sequences were always vibrant and full of energy, never dull or secure. What made her unique and what people will remember most is her dedication and desire to go beyond comfort. The knowledge that voices like hers are uncommon adds to the profoundness of her passing. Sally Kirkland stood for something more natural and personal in a world where entertainment frequently favors polished pictures and meticulous branding. She welcomed intricacy, she embraced feeling, she provided a type of creative daring that can only be experienced. She lived it to the fullest. We honor the significant emotional impact she leaves behind as we bid her farewell. Her work had an undeniable honesty, whether it was in major roles or minor supporting parts. Scenes were illuminated by her vitality. Younger actors were impressed by her bravery. Even though she was only on television for a brief period of time, her distinctive style made sure that viewers would never forget her. The sincerity Sally Kirkland brought to her profession endures, even though she is no longer physically present. The capacity to leave something that inspires people long after their voice has faded is what truly distinguishes an artist. Her long, complicated, and exquisitely flawed existence comes to an end with her passing, but her legacy lives on in every performance she influenced. In honoring Sally Kirkland, we pay tribute to a remarkable actor as well as a woman who firmly believed in the transformational potential of art. Her light has not gone out, but her last curtain has fallen. The truth she never stopped spreading, the lives she affected, and the stories she recounted all contribute to its continuation. A life committed to the craft. Kirkland's early exposure to creative circles influenced her professional identity. She developed in experimental settings where the limits of performance were continuously pushed, whereas many performers enter the business through formal academies or commercial avenues. Her entire perspective was formed by that instruction. She welcomed failure as a necessary part of the process, accepted danger, and saw every new assignment as a chance to grow emotionally. Sally's coworkers frequently commented that she never gave a safe performance. She discovered nuanced emotional corners to explore, even in roles that were simple. She thought that audiences could tell when an actress was being courteous or holding back because they could perceive genuineness right away. She seldom held back because of this. Even when she spent days meticulously planning, her art felt fragile and impromptu. A career throughout history over the years, she starred in numerous well-known films, but her career's scope was what really made it stand out. She felt just as at ease in a mainstream studio production as she did in a small independent picture. She accepted parts that piqued her attention, even if they offered neither fame nor money. As a matter of fact, she tended to favor projects that allowed her to develop a character from the inside out. Her coworkers remember her repeatedly, stating that she liked roles that scare me a little, which meant roles requiring psychological depth or emotional vulnerability. She didn't care if the production was glitzy or esoteric if a script presented her with that kind of challenge. Because of this strategy, her filmography became a patchwork of theatrical experiments, odd supporting roles, dramatic leads, surprise humorous performances, and television guest spots. The excitement that spectators experienced when they saw Sally Kirkland on screen stemmed from the knowledge that she would contribute something unexpected and wholly unique to the performance. An unwavering spirit in actual life, Kirkland's artistic style was reflected in her off-screen persona. She was known for voicing her mind and leading an intense life. She is friendly, talkative, and incredibly devoted, but she is also utterly uninterested in social games, according to friends and acquaintances. She rarely tempered her beliefs to appease people, and she never pretended to be someone she wasn't. People were occasionally taken aback by this candor, particularly in a field where civility and careful public presentation are valued. However, her candor was welcome to those who could relate to her. She felt that diplomacy that undermined authenticity was inappropriate because life was too brief and art was too significant. Even though they were frequently unusual, her friendships tended to survive a long time. Her combination of humor, openness, and a raw emotional intelligence that made it easy for her to connect with others drew them in. Speaking with Sally, according to many other artists, was like walking into a little, private stage where masks were removed and emotions were free to flow. Final days and health decline. Even though she continued to pursue her artistic endeavors into her older years, her health started to deteriorate dramatically in the years preceding her passing. Her mobility was restricted, and her once restless vitality was depleted by a slew of medical setbacks. She had always been someone who thrived on movement, expressiveness, and human presence, so those close to her observed that the change was emotionally, as well as physically difficult. After a while, it was decided to go into hospice care, where comfort took precedence over healing. Those who visited her in hospice have described periods of clarity, kindness, and even comedy during her last days, despite the fact that it was a challenging transition. According to reports, Kirkland kept inquiring about her acquaintances, former pupils, and little original ideas she had been bringing about. Her mind kept returning to the work that had shaped her life. Even at the end, the imprint she leaves many individuals were profoundly impacted by her presence, sometimes through her performances and other times by direct personal influence, as seen by the deluge of remarks, memories, and thoughts that followed her passing. Sally Kirkland was a role model of artistic bravery for young actresses. She proved that one might pursue a fulfilling job without compromising one's uniqueness. She taught that an actor's emotional truth rather than their appearance or conformity is their greatest value. She was a gift for filmmakers, an actor who accepted difficulty with a kind of crazy confidence, pushed situations beyond what was scripted, and added unexpected nuances to a part. She continues to serve as a reminder to viewers of the potency of acting when it is motivated by genuineness rather than strategy. Her influence in a shifting entertainment environment. The industry that Kirkland entered decades ago is very different from the one that exists today. There is more content, more technology, and occasionally less tolerance for the slower, more broader character work that she was best at. However, her demise also serves as a reminder of the importance of talents like her. She demonstrated that danger is necessary for artistic expression. It is a kind of strength to be vulnerable. Even when it causes discomfort to others, such eccentricity can be lovely. That great work is never produced by being cautious. When fans, theater lovers, and film students examine her work, many will find performances that feel remarkably contemporary due to their candor. Kirkland's emotional intensity, which some reviewers initially deemed too much, is in line with the unvarnished, personal acting techniques that are now praised. Her legacy is not sentimental in this sense, it is educational. Honoring Sally Kirkland, outside the screen. The way people remember how Sally Kirkland made them feel is maybe the most poignant homage to her life, not only on television, but also in casual times, auditions, rehearsals, and discussions. When someone needed encouragement, she provided it. When people hid behind safe decisions, she confronted them. Honesty, oddity, and artistic bravery were all things she embraced. Even those who had a fleeting encounter with her remember how attentively she listened to them and made them feel seen. That may be the best legacy of all for an artist whose life was centered around feeling. A last bow. The last chapter of Sally Kirkland's lengthy, erratic, and complex life comes to an end with her death at the age of 84. However, her work and the ethos that inspired it are still relevant today. It exists in the movies she changed, in the artists she influenced, and in the times when she made audiences feel something profound. Not every performer goes on to become well-known. Not all careers have a clear storyline. But every now and then, a performer like Sally Kirkland shows up, reminding us that honesty, not perfection, is the real goal of acting. She carried that flame, and she will be outlived by that blaze.